I'll say it as a fan and nothing else. The prospect of losing Blake Cashman is a cold reminder that this business has no room for sentiment. Recent reports indicate that the veteran linebacker is emerging as a potential cut candidate for the Minnesota Vikings this offseason. This development hits hard because Cashman has been a defensive anchor, and cutting him would be a jarring move that goes against the grain of his production. The more details come out, the harder it is to ignore what is going on behind the scenes. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city below. Let's get into it. The Minnesota Vikings are facing a surprisingly uncertain future regarding veteran linebacker Blake Cashman, who has suddenly emerged as a potential cut candidate this offseason. While he is not viewed by most as a player on the way out, the reality of his contract situation and the team's shifting front office priorities suggest that a departure is no longer unfathomable. Cashman has been in the Twin Cities for 2 seasons, becoming a reliable force who provided 144 tackles, 2 sacks, and 4 tackles for loss across 13 games last year. The truth is, the internal math for the Vikings is evolving rapidly. Minnesota has brought back Eric Wilson for depth and invested in the 2026 draft by selecting Jake Golday, a rangy athlete who represents the next generation of the defense. Between the emergence of Ivan Pace Jr. and the creative defensive schemes utilized by Brian Flores, which often task players like Andrew Van Ginkel or Dallas Turner with hybrid roles, the depth chart is becoming increasingly crowded. From a financial standpoint, releasing or trading Cashman would recoup over $7.6 million in cap space, a significant sum for a new general manager looking to manage the roster's long-term health. For us as fans, this news hits hard because Cashman has been an intelligent, steady leader who acts as an eraser in the run game and a reliable asset against tight ends. Seeing a productive 30-year-old veteran potentially shown the door simply for fiscal flexibility feels like a cold departure from the consistency we crave. We are left wondering if this is truly about the money or if the organization has already identified a specific weakness in his game that does not show up on the highlight reels. Can the team realistically replace his veteran savvy, or are they making a short-sighted gamble that will haunt the defense come September? Saving over $7 million in cap space through a straightforward cut is the primary catalyst pushing the organization to consider parting ways with Blake Cashman. We are looking at a veteran who delivered 144 tackles, 2 sacks, and 4 tackles for loss across 13 games last season, yet the front office is clearly weighing the risks of his injury history against the potential of a younger roster. The part fans are not ready for is how quickly a new general manager like Nolan Teasley might move to shed inherited contracts to build their own vision for the team. Loyalty to the previous front office is often fleeting in this league, and with the recent drafting of Jake Golday, there is a clear strategic shift toward developing cheaper, more versatile options who can move across the field like chess pieces. Behind closed doors, Coach Kevin O'Connell and his staff are surely evaluating whether a 30-year-old linebacker offers enough value when Brian Flores can deploy athletic players like Andrew Van Ginkel or Dallas Turner in hybrid roles for a fraction of the cost. History shows that Minnesota has often prioritized financial flexibility over sentimental attachments to veterans, especially when the depth chart is already crowded with players like Eric Wilson and Ivan Pace Jr., who provide immediate coverage and leadership. If the team chooses to move on, they recoup $7,632,353, a significant sum that would bolster our ability to secure long-term assets under the current leadership of Ziggy Wilf. It feels premature to lose such a cerebral player who serves as an eraser in the run game, but the cold reality of professional football is that even reliable leaders can become expendable when a new regime seeks to optimize the bottom line and pivot toward a faster, younger defensive core for the coming seasons. This offseason brings a quiet tension to our linebacker room that could redefine our defensive identity before the first kickoff even happens. While many folks are focused on the flashier positions, the potential departure of Blake Cashman is a cold, calculated move that strikes at the very heart of our veteran leadership. If new general manager Nolan Teasley decides to move on, we would clear $7,632,353 in salary cap space, a significant sum that would certainly change how we approach our future roster construction. And this is the part that gets me. We are trading away a proven playmaker who tallied 144 tackles and 2 sacks last season just to chase theoretical savings in youth. Moving on from a leader like Cashman, who can act as an eraser against the run and a versatile defender against tight ends, creates a massive void that younger, unproven players must somehow fill. When we face off against the Bears and the Lions next season, we will surely miss that reliable, cerebral presence on the field when the game speed ramps up in the fourth quarter. This strategic pivot toward younger prospects like Jake Golday and the experimental usage of players like Andrew Van Ginkel signals a major transition in how Brian Flores plans to defend our division rivals. While we all hope these adjustments provide more speed, there is an inherent risk in parting ways with a steady hand during such a competitive era in the NFC North. If we gamble too much on potential over experience, our playoff chances may take a hit because high-stakes divisional games require the kind of stability that a veteran like Cashman provides. Ultimately, it remains to be seen if this pursuit of financial flexibility justifies the risk of weakening such a critical piece of our defensive backbone. The argument for parting ways with Blake Cashman centers on the potential to recover over $7.6 million in cap space while pivoting to a younger, more cost-effective defensive identity. With a new front office in town, there is a clear incentive to prioritize players drafted under the current regime, such as the promising rookie Jake Golday. What nobody is talking about is the specific financial flexibility this creates for our future, allowing for more aggressive moves in free agency or essential extensions for core pieces of the roster. Conversely, the downside is quite significant because Cashman is a highly intelligent veteran who acts as a crucial eraser against the run and a versatile asset in pass coverage. Replacing that level of leadership and scheme awareness is no small task, especially considering his production of 144 tackles and 2 sacks last season. Outside observers are noting that the roster already has depth with players like Bengali Kamara, Kelly Lawson, Jacob Roberts, and Josh Ross waiting for their chance to shine. While some national voices suggest the team is already planning for his departure by bringing back Eric Wilson, I find that take a bit overblown given Cashman remains a superior playmaker when healthy. Here is where I land on this. Cutting a player of his caliber feels like a luxury we simply cannot afford right now. While the front office might look for ways to maximize the cap, losing a 30-year-old defender who understands the complexities of this scheme could create a massive void in the middle of our defense. We should prioritize keeping our reliable veterans to support the younger guys as they develop. It is a tricky situation to navigate, but sacrificing a proven leader for pure cap space is a gamble that might backfire if we expect immediate results from an unproven rookie group. The evolving status of Blake Cashman signals a broader strategic pivot for our Minnesota Vikings as we look toward the future under new leadership. This situation reflects a shift toward prioritizing financial flexibility and the development of younger, homegrown talent over maintaining older roster staples. Let's be real. While we appreciate his veteran savvy and the 144 tackles, 2 sacks, and 4 tackles for loss he contributed last season, the front office is clearly evaluating if that $7,632, $353 in cap savings could be better utilized elsewhere. As fans, you should feel a sense of cautious optimism rather than alarm. While losing an experienced leader like Cashman would be a surprise, it highlights that the team is preparing for long-term viability by leaning into the potential of rookies like Jake Golday and the versatility of our current defensive core. We are in a transitional phase where the goal is maximizing depth and positional flexibility under Brian Flores, meaning no roster spot is truly guaranteed regardless of past performance. This calculated approach aims to ensure our defense remains dynamic and sustainable for the coming seasons, even if it means parting ways with a familiar face before his time is technically up. Change is the only constant in professional football, and while we value the stability veterans provide, seeing our depth chart evolve is part of building a consistent championship-caliber contender. We must decide if the immediate impact of a veteran like Cashman is worth more to our defensive identity than the cap relief and youth movement he represents. Would you prefer the team keeps the established leadership of Blake Cashman for his final contract year, or would you rather see the front office pursue the $7,632,350 in savings for other roster needs? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Skol.